Hello, 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 people. Welcome to hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. This is the trip, summer edition. I got my man Spencer with me. How you doing, Spencer?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Happy Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah. Dog days of summer.
Yes, it is the dog days of summer. It's hot out there.
That is 87 degrees today. It rained this morning. I think it rained a little bit off and on. I don't go out much at work. I'm in the office most of the days, but yeah, it was a little bit cooler than it was last week. I can tell you that. But this heat, man. I'm tired of it. I'm glad we have AC in the States. That's all I'm gonna say.
That is true. That is true. We do have the AC. I mean, my house doesn't have like central air, so we have just a couple machines and a window and a unit stuck in the wall.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, I've learned to, at least because one of my kids has the air conditioner in her room, so we just kind of suffer, which is not really suffer, but just sleep without, and it's fine.
I can't do it, man.
Yeah, I didn't think I could, but it's fine.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The electric bill, I feel it. Like it's about $340 a month electric bill. It's pretty pricey, right? And our normal electric bill is about $250, $200. I mean, October and March is pretty good. But man, there's something about a little extra $60. I'll pay it. I don't know. Like I'm willing to pay it now. When like 15 years ago, I'm like, I will turn this thing. Like I was at someone's house on Saturday, a family member. 75, they had the house inside. I was like, good God. But it still felt good. For some reason, their house felt good at 75.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, doing good. I'm sure we'll get into the World Cup stuff. But I'll let you guide and I follow. How about that?
All right. Well, it's Arsenal channel, so
Sure.
we will. I guess we'll start with some Arsenal talk. We will congratulate our España Arsenal players who have won the World Cup. Raya, Zubimendi, and Moreno are winners. I think, if you weren't from Argentina, I assume you were, as they say, cheering for football. That's what people were saying, and wanted to see at least somebody else win. And I think all the words before the game and then the actions after the game pretty much are reasons why people were hoping for what the result that they got.
Yeah. I wanted Spain to win. I cannot stand Argentina. I think they're. I mean, I know you can argue Arsenal operate in the dark arts at times, but there's something about what I watched in this World Cup from Argentina and some of the things they got away with and some of the calls that went their way. So I'm not going to say I was very happy to see that they lost. And, I saw an interesting thing about Messi, and I know everybody paints him as this like hero, but he's the captain of that football team, and he allowed half the shenanigans.
Well, he kind of. It's funny you say that because I wrote some notes down. What I do with the notes, I put them away. I might have to go grab them so I don't forget. But there was a little video on the Twitter, basically showing the two times that he was calling for a card or something to happen. Like when Cucurella was telling him that the man got hit in the mouth, and he's like, And then when Enzo put that foul that basically flipped player over, and one of their plays miraculously just fell over.
Yeah.
And he's pointing like, what happened here? And it's like, dude,
Yeah.
Like, this is not the way you want to go out, you know.
Something else I saw, Gary, and it was maybe I sent it to the group, but it was talking about in 22 when they won, and Emmy Martinez had a baby doll with Mbappe's face on it, and they were teammates at the time, and you allowed that? I'll tell you what, countrymen or not, and we're teammates, and I said I got to go hang out with it. You ain't doing that shit, and and it'd be one thing if the captain of the club's doing it, right? And I'm Mr. like 25th. I'm not going to go tell the captain of the club don't do that. I'm not going to like it. I'm going to let him know I don't like it. But you're the captain of the club. You set the tone. There's a lot to not like about Argentina, and Emmy Martinez embodies that as much. I mean, we had him. He won an FA Cup with us, but we saw how he acted on the way out. We've seen how he's acted since then. My buddy made a text to me, and he was glazing over Messi, and I don't care either way who they gave the FIFA Golden Ball to. I mean, the Rodri stats for 700 some passes, a World Cup record or whatever it was, 93% accuracy is pretty impressive. The line breaking passes, like for someone that admires that sixth position, I really love when a six is playing like top. I mean, that's something to watch. But it's almost like people wanted this to be a coronation for Messi, and my buddy's like, oh, we're gonna go see him play in Miami. We're gonna try to get down there, and I'm like, you can go watch walking football at our local rink, because that's all he did was walk around. And I'm not dogging his talents. He's one of the best to ever do it. I think he gets a lot of. You know what, Gary? I think and maybe I'm wrong when I say this. If he spoke English, I wonder if people would think differently of him. And what I mean by that is like Ronaldo speaks English, so you're able to kind of get some of those mannerisms. Where if you don't speak his language, you just don't understand. Am I making sense? Like his delivery, like there's. Where like we see, I don't know how to describe it, where people will not take it in the wrong light, but because we don't hear him and we have to hear it through a translator, we don't hear that personality as much as we would with like a Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Or
I don't know. I mean, you don't even, I guess to some degree, yes, but like, I like to say the actions speak louder than words anyway.
Oh,
so
sure.
His actions basically, like, I mean, he's usually not there when the team does some of the craziness that they have done in the past, right? He wasn't on the bus when that video was made.
Yeah.
He didn't seem to be on the pitch, at least, or around the pitch where all that stuff was happening after the game. And like you said, like if he's supposed to be the picture of Argentina football, that's good, but then the rest of the people behind him are not following suit, right? Because he doesn't. At least I don't feel like he embodies that. I mean, yeah, he was trying to get calls on his side because his team was losing and stuff like that. So you could see that, but the way that the rest of the team, like okay, his team was fighting for him, and we said, look at the Portugal team; they weren't fighting for Ronaldo the same way. Like so, in two cases, you're like, well, you know what? There's not much difference. Like in the sense that he lets them do all these craziness that he doesn't. I don't believe he embodies that in what he's done in the world of football. Ronaldo could be. I guess it seems like all right. Must be the bad guy, and that's why they don't want to back up for him. It's like, it's so like they both have their own little bit of a, at least the, bones in the closet type thing. So it's not something about both of their relationships with football in the sense that people say, Ronaldo is just all about himself in football and all of that, and Messi isn't. But you look at that situation, you're like, maybe he is a little bit about himself as well, which is what some of these athletes at a top level are. All right, it's how they treat everybody else that sometimes matters, right?
It's the pinnacle, right? This is the pinnacle of sport. And every sport has that moment, the Super Bowl, MLB World Series, World Classic Baseball, whatever you want to call it, the Olympic hockey. Like there's those moments. And, I think there is something to it, the desperation there. I don't like what he did there, but, he's desperate. He knows the minute Enzo went through, like, it's probably not the first time he's seen Enzo do something completely stupid. And he's like, are you kidding me? Do you, and I'm sure it's his
No,
first.
he's trying to get something for his team, but at
Sure.
some point, because up to that point, the referee basically was letting them play, and
Yeah.
in that sense, letting Argentina get away with a lot more than they should have gotten
Yeah.
away with,
Paredes
right?
should have been sent off a few times.
So there was the game, and Spain. The thing about it, and that's why I was okay with Rodri actually, winning, the player of the tournament essentially because Spain, as most people were like, France can blow people out, but Spain has been the most consistent in the sense
Yeah.
that their games are always the same. You know what you're going to get. The defense is going to be solid, and they'll nick a goal off of you somehow, right? I mean, like if Yamal is, I think once he matures a little bit, and they play that if they were to play that same way, game's over because Yamal had some opportunities to score. He just like I was saying to I was like, no wonder. I mean, he's got like 11 saves. I mean, they're just
Mhm.
like they're mishitting every ball to him. It's dribbles and
Yeah.
drabs and balls got nothing behind it, right? Like I always say, sting the goalkeeper's hands, make him know you're there at least. And he's just like catching the,
Yeah.
basically just like boink. That's what it looked like. Let me go through the chat real quick. We only got
But
BX Gunner in the house. Thanks for joining us. He says he's almost 40 and a global star. The fact that he hasn't learned English is pathetic. Messi can kick rocks already. Yeah. He doesn't have to learn the language if he doesn't need to, and he hasn't needed to. He probably can speak French, I assume, right? Does
I
he?
would think so. I mean, my
Yeah.
whole comment about his language is I think he's got that mystique because he only speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
That like there's a level of like a certain factor of the world don't hear that personality because they have to hear it through a translator.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right, and
I,
that's the same thing for anybody that speaks English. He's going to speak in Japan. Like it's kind of all the same thing, but still.
yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he. I mean, the fact that he didn't make it to the U.S. until he was in his late 30s, and
Yeah,
it's yeah. The fact that he hasn't learned it. Nah. Pele and Maradona said Messi has zero personality. I mean,
probably so.
he just has the talent. That's the only like he everybody says he's the GOAT because of all the things he's done. But if you go and look at Pele and look at Maradona and look at all these other players in other sports, he's nowhere close to that, right? He's not Michael Jordan. He's not a Babe Ruth. He's not, you just think of any play you could think of, Lemieux,
Yeah,
you just Wayne Gretzky, all these players that are just big names, and now they do everything, right? Personality, celebrity, all of that in one. So
I
he
can
didn't do that.
appreciate him,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
I can appreciate him for the talent he is, but I don't have to like Argentina.
No, yeah,
I mean, you can
you can
watch
separate the two.
Argentina and rugby. Argentina and rugby are a bunch of shithousers.
Yep, yep, yep.
So
Beckham, yeah, Beckham's on that level,
yeah,
right? I mean, there's a lot of players that can do both. He hasn't done both, and like the fact that he started out like failing in those moments, right? He's failed in those moments where his team his team needed to jump on his back, and he would take them there, and he didn't. All right, he didn't do that for a bit until I think they won. I think it was the Euros they won or whatever, or the World Cup. I can't remember which one it was that kind of got them moving along. And he basically completed football right when he got the World Cup. So, but he had his blips along the way. So he wasn't as big in those moments until late. They need they if without if they it, in reality it's like Messi, Ronaldo, like they just came at this. They came at the right time because you always need two people to play against each other to consider who's the best at the sport at the time. When there's only one, it's just like
yeah,
like when Tiger Woods is going there, and you're like, well, this guy showed up for a tournament. Oh, he's gone. This guy turned up he's gone. But Tiger Woods is still there. You're like, you can call him the greatest of all time during that reign. But Ronaldo and Messi basically had their time, back and forth in terms of Ballon d'Ors and Champions Leagues, and just winning. Yeah. So yeah, no, it was. I mean, he's gonna be. I guess that might be his last one. Right? It's gonna be another 4 years before he comes back. He's gonna be a lot older, and if he can't as you said, if he's walking around now, what's he going to be doing? In 3 years from now, when a game's probably going to change once again,
Yeah.
right? The game will be different, and then it might be even more games. Right, they're talking about I think 64 games or 64 teams.
64 teams. But again, if you do 64 teams, that allows further rest time in between.
There's that, but then there's actually there's more games. So like so
I'm good with, dude. We're doing this once every 4 years, man. Like I'm fine with there being more teams in it. So hey, I'm gonna let the dog out real quick. I think.
All right, no problem. No problem. Sorry. That's cool. Hello, everybody. Yeah, we can keep talking, but yeah, no, I that's kind of how I feel about that situation. Yeah. It I think it tainted the sport, but I did see. Is it Gary from Spain, basically saying he doesn't think any of the players should get punished for their actions, which I kind of feel like I don't know. That's like the biggest stage in the world, right? If you're doing that stuff there, you're expecting you're going to get away with it in other places, and then, why punish people at all then if like it's an emotional game, but you got to be able to control your emotions, or else you wouldn't be able to make it through a game, right? If your emotions let go, then you're you're going to be seeing the door on your way out. So why wouldn't you? Why should not be surprised that they got punished, right? Um, should be. I mean, I don't know. He's swinging at players, bringing them down, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, just what Rodgers running by, and you just stick an arm out, and I guess try to. I don't know if you try to punch him or not, but like, come on, so that's not what this is all about. And you're talking about bringing the game to the world, but not but then allowing people to beat each other up. So that shouldn't be the way it works. Let's just be it says here. Seems the love of international football has grown with many new fans and rekindled the past love with season supporters. Yeah, no, I think when I think one of the things you can do, right, is you watch your team, in the club. Watch your team in the club games, and you're like, yes, they have a chance to win an international round, international games and stuff like that. So it keeps you engaged for sure. For sure, it does. So yeah, no, it seems. I mean, I think every 4 years it brings in more fans because it's a big deal. And then the fact that you brought in another 8 teams, was it? Is that right? No, another 16. Is it 16 or 8 teams? 16, 8 teams. I think it was. They brought in 8 teams, right? So another 8 countries coming in. That some new teams were able to make it, right? Some of the teams you thought would be able to make it didn't, right? Italy's didn't make it. So, yeah, no, expanding it. I mean, if it's going to be considered the World Cup, then I guess the world should have an opportunity to play in it. It'd be nice if they could play in it, play actually in the World Cup as opposed to qualify for it. But every sport, I mean, like think about it, the Olympics, right? You have to qualify, even not every country gets to make it. You have to qualify, or else they would have too many people. So there is a limit. But yeah, no, it definitely has grown. I think it's grown because of TV, advertisements, streaming, and all of that. Brings in more people. What's going on here? Oh, and then they have the big, the bar by my, near me. They had a big outside TV.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that was, for the U.S. games was packed, of course. And yeah.
I ran into my buddy Brandon on Friday at Walmart, and he's big with like the U.S. supporter group or whatever, like he does that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the World Cup. He had his kids with him, so we really couldn't get too in depth with it, about the U.S. and how we felt about it. But overall, dude, I think I love the club game so much. There's something about the club game. I like the tribalism of it to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is tribalism with the World Cup too, but I think but again, like I feel like there could be unhealthy tribalism in the World Cup. I don't think we completely saw it the whole time, but I mean, we saw some incidents of Argentina. We saw some other incidents and things that weren't really good. But overall, I think it was pretty bringing together. I think it's a friendly reminder that we're just the kids and the adults are the ones in the rooms that are screwing everything up. Our leaders in all countries are just whatever. And again, I'm not trying to get political. I'm not trying to sway anyway. But it's just a simple reminder that we're all kind of have the same passion. We're all just really trying to make it in life. I think the thing that really I love the most, though, Gary, is like the English fans or the people that traveled to America that had this like whole image of America, and then they're like, "Oh, this is completely a great place." And when you go to places and you actually experience it, it's a good time.
I think a lot of people did the same thing with the Qatar, right? A lot of people who ended up actually going came back basically saying they enjoyed their the visit there, watching the matches, and then just doing whatever you do over there as well. So, yeah, I mean, but you know what, and that's what that's what traveling allows you to do, right? You experience, you got to experience different things, different ways people live. A lot of times there's some overlap, but then there's a lot of new things that it's good to have to be well grounded and well rounded and experience that stuff. I'm just gonna get. I'll be right back. I just realized something. So you can keep chatting about the World Cup. I'll be right back. I just realized.
So overall, I think the World Cup was a good event. I think it was successful. I liked the one thing I really liked most about this World Cup is we had 3 separate countries doing the honors of hosting, and I think that's something I'd love to see in the future. I think in 2030, I think it's going to be in Portugal, Morocco, and one other country I can't think off the top of my head, but I think that's the way to do it. It gives you think about how vastly different Mexico, U.S. and Canada are from just from everything geographically to locations, and I think that allowed people to experience more, and it allows because you see a lot of these times in the Olympics where and unfortunately there's like YouTube channels completely dedicated to abandoned spots. And I think the more access and the more we share the facilities, the better off it'll be. And, looking at it, Gary mentioned something about going to 64 teams. I don't think it's a horrible idea to go to 64 teams unless you wanted to do something where the 48 to 64 do like a semi-play-in game. And that allows you to do something like that. But I don't think we saw a lot of blowouts in this World Cup because I think everybody was worried you expand this to 48 and you're going to get some blowouts. And there was a couple, but I mean, Cabo Verde, if we don't go to 48, or Cape Verde, if we don't go to 48, we don't get that moment. That goalkeeper doesn't get that moment on the world stage. So that's the beauty of the game. It only happens once every 4 years. And so what? You get yourself a group stage game where someone gets pumped 5-1. Okay, who cares? Like, I think this is a moment. I think more was better. I didn't watch every single game like some people that I know. DX watched a lot of the games, but I enjoyed the games that I did watch. It was hard with the time frame to manage it, but I enjoyed it. So, but that's pretty much what I got to say on the World Cup, Gary. I don't know how much of that you heard, but
I just caught the end. I got the end of it, but yeah, no, I get what you're.
Yeah,
I get where you're going with that one. The only other thing I had to say probably about it, just so we can end on it, is FIFA not really doing the I didn't see it in regards to. There's nothing really to see here in regards to whether there's supposed to be any suspensions for any players and whatnot. And I'm like, no, come on, you serious, right? You're serious? This is those are the type of videos you're okay having out there. Players, attacking other players after the World Cup and all of that. And I don't know if it played out that way, but they said, when Argentina went up to get their medals, the Spanish players created a little tunnel for them and basically celebrated playing with them. But then when turnaround happened, supposedly the Argentinian their players were off to the side just with their backs to them essentially.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, it's hard to tell whether that's what actually happened or they're told, get out of the way because you didn't win. It's hard to tell. Sometimes you sit there and you sometimes they have you sit there and you watch them get the trophies, but in that scenario you'd be standing in front of them where the cameras and stuff would have been. So, but it just seemed like, I don't know, that one might have been, just to create even more. The media creates these agendas that maybe aren't actually there.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so let's get into this one. So we talked about the World Cup, and it is transfer time, and it's Arsenal time. So that means we can talk about that. And the big news, of course, is Morgan Rogers, according to the media, was going to Arsenal. According to the media, was Arsenal's number one choice. According to the media, was pretty close and pretty much done until it wasn't done.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was he chose to go to Chelsea. That's where he always wanted to go. And then you see the news. This is the biggest club in London coming from his mouth and stuff. And you're like, well, he's doing that. Of course, I think he's doing that because he's supposed to do that. But that whole thing, I'm like, Arsenal has a plan. Nobody, you know what? We don't like their plan. We don't. As Arsenal fans, we don't like Arsenal's plan. Right? We didn't like the football. We didn't like how they brought in some of the players. We didn't how long it took. Why don't you go get the player you said is a number one choice? Even though I think that's more media driven than it actually is talking to Arteta and Burton going, well, who's your number one choice? Like you're going to get that information. So I kind of feel like, you know what? We didn't get our man. I don't know if spending that much would have been the answer. I kind of feel like we got our limits. If we're not going to spend an extra 40% on an 18-year-old or 16-year-old, why are we going to spend another 25-30% on a 23-year-old? If we have our limits, do we have our limits? Right?
Yeah, I think I remember when you and I talked about this, dude. Like, and I can't find the text, but I did to somebody, and I was like, a center midfielder is our main target. Like, I felt like left wing was the biggest need, right?
But he's supposed to play that though.
But again, that's to me, that's putting a guy a circle into a square peg. That I don't think. What was the point of bringing Eze in? I mean, again, I'm not gigging the club here. I'm not getting the club, but I mean, I guess if you're looking at it from a depth chart perspective, and I heard someone say this, and I actually agree with this. I'd much rather keep in Weary than go get Morgan Rogers for that amount of money.
Not only that, but you've been Weary and you have Dalman, and unless I didn't see what I thought I saw when they played Arsenal in the last 2 years, they have some body of work that you can say I can work with that.
Mm-hmm.
Are they full-time starters for us? No, but they don't have to be. That's not the plan anyways. No 16, 18-year-old has to be a starter for a team that just won the league, but they can contribute, right?
Yeah, I just Zolas I like coming in. The Morgan Rogers thing, I saw some people go like really like overboard, like meltdown over it, but I don't know if their anger was at the Twitter handles that are giving out transfer stuff. Like, we've been watching this long enough. I mean, Gary, that you've got a lot longer watching this than me, but until I see a shirt, that's why even Zolas, I mentioned his name, but I ain't seen him pick up a shirt yet. But like Meliers are only signing at this point, as far as I'm concerned. But for me, like left wing was the priority. If you're going to sell Martinelli, you bring in 2 left wings. I see Alonso brought up Alvarez. I'm kind of like impartial on that one. I'd rather just have a really 2 good elite left wings, Azolas and someone else. And then if you can bring in Stones on a free, maybe. But again, as far as the Morgan Rogers thing go, because I don't want to jump ahead, but I wasn't as angry as I saw some of the people. Was I disappointed? Yeah, but 117 million. I saw some people saying Arsenal are a serious club because of this, and I just think that's ridiculous.
I said when the manga deal happened, I was like, yes, it's only what is it, 4 or 6 mil more, but it's not the 4 or 6 million more. It's the 40 to 50% or 40 to 100% more, or 80 to 100% more than you had wanted to pay, right? That they didn't want to pay more than because if you do it at the low end, then the same discipline is required at the other end, right?
Yeah.
right? If you're saying we're paying 85 to 95, and they're like, no, you got to pay another 20. You're like, that's like 25% over what we had budgeted. You
Yeah,
don't do it, right? I mean, we
one
you
hundred
don't
percent.
you don't do it. So it's not the people looking at the number, and but they're not looking at the percentage. It's like one of those things where buy these stock prices at a penny, yeah, but how much money are you making off of it? If it only goes up 1%, you're not making much, right? But
Yeah,
if I mean, but the
there's
percentage
nothing
is the key
worse.
thing, right? I mean, the
There's
percentage is
nothing
the
worse than negotiating, Gary, and you throw out a number, and they're like, "Okay," and you're like, "Oh, I went too high." Like that's the immediate your first thought.
Yeah, when they say yes, yes, we'll sell them for 117, they got you, right? That's
Mhm.
you're going to buy a car or something like that,
Yeah,
and they always ask you how much do you want to spend, right?
I never
Right,
answer it.
right. You never answer. I said I want a good deal, so give me
Yeah,
a good deal, right? All right, let
yeah,
me go through the chat. We'll catch up,
you're
and
good.
then we'll go from there. But yeah, so we'll talk a little bit more about the transfer window. BX Gunner is like, this is why I'm trusting Berta and Cronkies to continue building our newfound success. We have multiple players returning as double champions, and the winning run is only getting started. I hope so. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
plan. Want to build on it, but you know what? Part of the build has to be bringing in new talent because I don't trust these guys will get healthy and they'll be back kind of thing because that didn't work last year, right? I hope it works this year, but it didn't work last year. Erdegaard didn't come back. Saka didn't come back. Moreno didn't. He didn't last. Kai didn't come back. Right? We had like 4 top players on our team that didn't come back. you know, like to where the levels that we would expecting them to get to. So yeah, yeah. No, I get that. No, that's why we definitely need to bring in numbers. Whether it's we've got like 7 to 9 players that can leave this club. All right, and not all of them played for us last year. So
yeah,
yeah, BX says Argentinian fans carried over club rivalries into World Cup hooligan supporters. That's the bad part of it. That's going to happen in some situations, but yeah. Got
yeah.
Alonzo in the house. He says, "What's up, DWTT gang? Thanks for joining us." You don't want Alvarez? I would take Alvarez. I'm taking, like I understand that we'll get into that. Well, I'm gonna hold that thought. We'll come back to this one, Alonzo. We go through the rest of the chat real quick. Opportunity YouTube. Thanks for joining us here. I should have plugged that you were doing a live stream. I don't like to go on people's show. I was on Dan's show earlier. Told him I
Mhm.
had to leave, but I do push it out on Twitter and out on Instagram and stuff like that. So if you're following me on the Twitter or even the YouTube, if you go in there once in a while, I do push messages out there as well. So, but yeah, every Tuesday and Saturday. Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. on the East Coast, 12:30 a.m., and then on Saturdays at 10 a.m., 3 p.m. on in the UK. And in the summer, we've been kind of been going off and on. So we'll have this show again in 2 weeks because I'll be away. If I do have a show, I will plug it and you'll know. But right, and it all depends on what I'm doing. If I'm busy doing stuff, then we'll just take a little break. But more likely, we'll take a little break so we don't have to worry about trying to schedule things.
Yeah.
So we'll see in 2 weeks. What else we got here from Lonzo? He says the only way our Arsenal bring Alvarez in, he plays left wing. I don't think so. You bring in Alvarez in, then you play him in his preferred position. I think. He can play behind a Kai Havertz, right? There's a way to do that if Arteta changes his ways. But you're bringing in Alvarez, you're spending that money on him. He's going to start, and you probably don't want to start. That's like not like the Morgan Rogers situation, which is probably why he didn't want to stay with us. Is right. They wanted to split his time, mostly on the left wing and less in the midfield. So yeah, no, I get this. I don't think Alvarez has to play on the left. I don't think that's why you would bring him in. I think if somebody said you're going to bring in a better player than you have, then you play him in that position, right? That's why I'm like, Saka can go if we get something better than him. Trick is there's not that many players better than him, right? So Solis is really going under the radar. He's quality and will have an instant impact. In your opinion, yeah. We'll get into that. We'll go back here and we'll save that one because we're talking about. All right, let's see. We got yeah. So we're talking about Alvarez. So I guess we'll talk about Alvarez then. Yeah. What's your thoughts?
What I like about him the most is that he played in the league already. That's what I like most about him. I think he would fit in. Again, then that becomes the question: who does he play left wing for us? I think you could probably get away with it. I know people say he's a forward, but I guess it depends on how you play him as a left wing too, right? I like the player, but I don't. And if that, I just, I like the fact he's been in the league. Like I have doubts about Barcola. I know I'm not pivoting away from it. If that was our main move this window, so let's paint a picture here, right? Because obviously you're going grocery shopping, you have a budget to do it, but you also have to maintain what you got. So Alvarez comes and what's your opinion? And I'll pivot back to what I'm saying, but go ahead.
Like you said, partly we've seen what he can do in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody's perfect that we're going to bring in for our attack right now. The players that any player that you think of that we could possibly bring in, they all have caveats to it, right? There's always that, he can do this, but right. Yeah. But we've seen Alvarez actually work in a system built similar to ours, at least the way that Arteta thinks to some degree, right? He's trying to mimic. I think he's done things a little bit differently defensively, but he wants certain things out of his attackers. So Alvarez has played. I'd like to think he could work for us. But yeah, I mean, I looked at the video that Big Scunner pushed out there, and one of the things about Alvarez that is poor is his possession is really, really low.
Come on, Zolas.
No, Alvarez. His ball control ranks, 118 according to Sophie on the Ivory squad. Or is it Zolas or is it Alvarez? I think it's Zolas. I don't know. I have to watch this again. Now I have to read this again. Say it again.
I want to get everybody against me, but we can pivot to that. I'll make the comment someone said to me later, but yeah. So Alvarez, I don't know, man. If you can tell me that you get Alvarez, we can get. Just say John Stone's on a free to back up that line. Say you bring in a fullback and you can bring in a Bruno Guimaraes as well. I don't think you can do both. I don't. But if you can do those two, and let's say you push out Fabio Vieira, I guess you try Nani Madueke back on the left side. Do you bring in another fullback that could play left or right? I think you do. I feel like Mascara's going to do fine for Saliba. I'm just thinking of if Alvarez is it, if you're spending $100 million, are we going to go spend $200-300 million this window? I don't see it, man. Not without some outgoings. If you can get, I don't know, if you can get Martinelli out and Trossard out, it depends, man. I don't think they're going to be bargain bin, transfers, but I just feel like Anthony Gordon broke the market, man. He went for $70 million at Barcelona. I think that broke the market this summer. We're seeing January transfer window prices.
Yeah, imagine what January is going to be like if it was like this now, right? If you're really desperate, right? Yeah, no, I watched the video again, and I think I got it now. So Victor Gyökeres, terrible ball control, right? And I think the problem with that is that's not his skill set. That's not his skill set. He's not going to bring the ball in control and do something with it. You pass the ball and put the ball into space for him. He's going to get there. We've seen it multiple times toward the end of the season, right? Ball's flying in the air, and he's got space and time to go and get it. He's fine. But if you put him under some pressure, there's a guy on his back. He can't control it, right? Put the ball into a mess of players. He's not going to control it. So I think once again, we're playing him out of position and then complaining that he doesn't do the job that he's never been able to do in his life. So that's where the Eucharist ball control thing comes for me. Zolis has a better ball control, but the only question we have is the Belgium league allow him to get more space and time on the ball, right? So he can control it better, you know. Like I think if Gyökeres was playing in right, Portugal, where he had more time and space on the ball, guess what? It probably looks much better. You don't see as much of a problem there. Comes to Premier League, time on the ball is short. There's already somebody on top of you as soon as you get it. So I think it looks worse. But we did see, I believe we saw Gyökeres get better. We lost Spencer there. Hopefully he'll be back. But like I think we saw better from Gyökeres, and I think that's the key thing is he did want to work, but he did better. So I think that's what we got from him. So, and I think if when Gyökeres is putting in the work, then you need to give him something. So that's kind of my thing. Yeah. So I did see the video talking about Zolis having better ball control. Does that work in? Or does that translate when he comes to the Premier League and he's playing against the left and right backs in the Premier League? All right, we shall find out. I hope it works out for him, and he's like, we get our own Kvaratskhelia kind of thing there. Nobody saw that one coming. All right, so yeah. So I don't think Gyökeres will leave after one season, but he could leave after his second season, right? If they bring in Alvarez, but then also he might stay here, and Alvarez might be gone in 2 years. That's what some people are thinking. I think if we get Alvarez, he'll still be looking at the door, thinking of a way to get out. Maybe it's one of those deals where Arsenal buys a player and sells him for the same amount that we bought him for, and maybe has a couple of trophies to show for it. That's what you're bringing him in for, right? It gives you the better opportunities to win, right? So that if we have a Gyökeres and an Alvarez, we have better chances to win, and we're gonna take that, right? We'll take that. Bruno G impresses me. Barcola doesn't. I mean, I think, like I said, I think they give you different. Bruno G is the most consistent player that we can bring in. All right, probably the best player that is out there that's available. If we do get him, that's a problem. If we do get him, right? All the other players that have gone out there, they all have some caveats to them, right? They all have some. They're good at this, but they might not be good in that situation, right? So that's the thing. Bruno is, I think, as far as the risk factor, is really low for Bruno. Everybody else, the risk that they won't be able to perform in certain situations is much higher. Bruno's playing in the league, has done really well in the league, playing on a team, and I think were there other players? I think I had a chat today where I brought up if it costs 100 mil for Bruno, and you pay it, right? And the response was, then why didn't we get Tielemans? Tielemans was only 35, and I was like, well, one, he was lower because of course his release clause, but two, it sounds like Arsenal didn't want him. Right? If Arsenal doesn't want him, then it doesn't matter how much he costs; it's not going to work out, right? If Norgard doesn't work at 10 mil and Tielemans isn't going to work at 35, if Arteta doesn't want to play him and doesn't see him fitting, I don't know how, but that's Arteta. He sees things we don't. So, all right, Spencer should be joining us in a little bit here. Lost him for a bit, but yeah. So like I said, I think the use of, like, if you're looking at Alvarez, and I was just talking about Alvarez and Gyökeres. I think, and ball control and all of these types of things. I think if you had Gyökeres and you had Alvarez behind him, because I think a lot of people feel like he plays with two up front anyways. If you have Alvarez and Gyökeres, or Alvarez and Kai Havertz, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, with our defense hopefully getting better with Bruno there, and then getting healthier as the season goes on, we're going to have, I think, some answers to the questions that we didn't have last year. If Zolis does show up and he that ball control translates, we're only going to get better, right? If Saka gets healthier, we're only going to get better. If Ethan and Wary and Max Dowman continue to improve from where they were, you're doing. I think we have some answers there. I don't know if Martinelli's going to change and improve from last year, right? But maybe you put him in those late game situations, right, and he shows up, right? If Erdogan gets healthier and can play the way he played in the World Cup, right? If we're not going to change him, and I think Eze and him are two different types of players. One is a lot more riskier.
Yeah.
But if you have an Alvarez and a Gyökeres or Kai Havertz in front of him, maybe it won't matter.
Well, I think this is what it comes down to. I don't think we have to really truly. I'm going to be in the minority here when I say this. I don't think we need to change our style of play completely. What I think we need to do is to beef the quality up of the player up front on the left. And I think some of those chances that Martinelli would scuff, maybe a Zolas puts those away, maybe an Alvarez, whatever, right? Like that. I think that's the style worked. So I don't think you have to go super negative, but I also think about that Champions League final, right? We basically, with Rice, Miles Lewis-Skelly, and Odegaard, got pretty much punched in the mouth from a midfield perspective in the game by Vitinha, by Neves, Fabian Ruiz, whoever. We need to potentially look at like a Bruno Guimaraes, who's 28. Boom, he's ready to play right now, and that gives Zubamendi time to kind of like rotate in and stay fresh. I just, part of me feels like a left wing and a Bruno is probably more important than an Alvarez, if I'm honest. If I think about us from where we are, and I go back to that Champions League final, you can bring in Alvarez all you want, but if he's not getting service, if we're losing the midfield in that game, it doesn't matter. And also, I think about it from also perspective, Madueke and Martinelli on. So Martinelli was good in the World Cup. If you bring in a Zolas, if you bring in whoever as that left wing to play as a complementary piece, and Weary's a year older. As you see, like I feel like this team's ready to win now, so the decisions have to be made to win now.
Yep.
Bruno is absolutely a right now player. You're bringing him in. He's a Thomas Partey type. Remember, we brought in Partey about the same age and got 4 years out of him. Perfect. Zolas is I think he's 24.
Yep.
I think that's the age group.
Yep.
That's prime.
Yep.
That allows Weary and Dowman and Miles Lewis-Skelly to still learn their craft. You can still play Miles Lewis-Skelly in the midfield. You can still play Miles Lewis-Skelly as a left back. That gives you Hincapie, Mascara, Calafiori. Like, the team's still there, but adding those pieces, man. Bruno's ready to play now. Alvarez has played in this league. And I'm going to give you a name that my buddy said to me, and I even heard Clive say it yesterday. You know the name I'm about to say. And I'm gonna get yelled at by BX. I already know this. Marcus Rashford. That's another name.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like Rashford is like your sign piece for the front. But people are selling me on Rashford as a potential piece, and I don't dislike it.
Lots of stuff there.
I know. Trust me. I know. If you could get like a Bruno and another big player of the line, and you bring Rashford in as a complement to that, I think that's not a bad window, man.
Yeah. So one negative for Rashford.
Okay, fair.
He's not going to. He's going to want to come in with the same salary he has now, and that is Saka salary.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably not going to happen.
Okay.
It's not going to happen. I don't think you're going to bring in a Rashford at the same price as a Saka, the most expensive player on your squad. So I can't see that. I can't see for that reason alone, unless he's taking a pay cut somehow, right? Because Saka's making the same amount as he is making that same amount based on Capology right now. So probably not going to happen. All right.
Yeah.
He would work, but would he be consistent enough? in the league? Probably not. I think it'll be. Would it be similar to like a Trossard? He's going to show up, but not be consistent enough day week in week out. So that's the other trick to that one. But if you are rotating things around, then maybe it doesn't matter as much. If you're going to have other players come in and play on that left side, right? Then so
Yeah.
be it, right? So Zolas will be there to compete. And
Yeah.
going back to the video that BX showed me real quick. Out of the players in the World Cup, I think they looked at the way they looked at the stats was in the Champions League. Victor Gyökeres one of the worst in terms of ball control, and Morgan Rogers similar, one of the worst midfielders in terms of ball control. Zolas, in 158 players, I think he's 12th or something like that. So so his ball control is good, and that's Champions League. I didn't realize it. That's Champions League. So that isn't I thought it was in I thought it was in the Belgian league. So in Champions League, but I think also in Champions League, Martinelli looks really good.
Yeah.
So like the Champions League, Premier League, I think there is a difference between the two. We've seen it, right? Martinelli that we get in the Champions League is not the Martinelli that we see in the Premier League. Just somehow doesn't work out. So, but yeah, no, Rashford sounds. I've heard that name come up. I just I don't think the money is going to work.
Yeah.
And once again, he's coming into the Premier League, having played. He's been better than a lot of players in La Liga, but does it translate? And that's the thing about it. Krupi's playing in the league, and Krupi would cost a lot of money, and Krupi has actually done it.
That's the other name. Krupi
Right.
would be one. Krupi would be my yeah. I'm glad I forgot that name. Thank you.
No, Krupi came up in the talk on Dan's channel, and I think anywhere from 80 to 100 would be what you would have to pay for him. But he's 18, so like if you're paying for, what if it works out, can you still sell him later on? Probably, yeah, and maybe get your monies back, right? So there are options there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think our Krupi is on our Arteta's, radar, but why not?
Yeah,
But I think if Alvarez is on it, what? That's the other part to this is what people said as well. Arteta supposedly wanted Morgan Rogers, didn't get him. Arteta's wanted Sesko, didn't get him. Arteta wanted Mudryk, didn't get him. But I think in many of those situations, Arsenal is by not getting the number one pick, their number one option has come out better sometimes. Which Sesko played like Gyökeres? I don't know.
Yeah.
Did Gyökeres, I think, finished the end of the season pretty strong. Sesko was all right. But 21 goals from Gyökeres in a bad year. And in a year where I don't even think in that first half of the season we looked for him or he was available to us. So if that were to improve, then you should be able to get 30, 35 goals, right? You got 21 goals, right? And struggling, right? So,
Here's something else to think about Zolas too is what's he going to do against low blocks too? Like that's the other thing. In the Champions League, it's a little bit more wide open, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not dogging the player when I say that. I'm just doing a what if. But the Krupi one I really do like, and more. I mean, I just had this thought, and you brought it up, and I was going to piggyback on it. But there have been players. God, I forgot, man. I don't know. The Krupi one.
I don't bring up his name because my thing is if Arteta wants Alvarez, then I'm fine. I'm fine. As Big says, Krupi being young, he has an upside. So is he gonna? He might not get hit or the ground running for Arsenal, but he eventually will. If he's playing in the league now, so that's nothing. You don't have to worry about that, right?
Yeah.
The wear and tear of the league, he's familiar. His body is familiar with that. So yeah, let me go through this chat. I think I've missed. Did I miss a lot of? Yeah, I have. Wow. Alonzo's got to go back to work. Thanks for joining us, Alonzo. Sorry I didn't get to say bye before you're gone. I assume you're gone now. I can see us bringing in another Spanish-speaking player. Arteta does like his Spanish-speaking players, right? So Alvarez probably fits in there. Gyökeres, Gary. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That was Gyökeres. It was Gyökeres that he were talking about. Like I said, I think asking Gyökeres to be a hold-up player is just like asking Saka to play goalkeeper or something like that. It's just not going to happen. Just something people can't do. Zolis could unlock Gyökeres. Yeah, no, he could. He could. He could. I guess we'll find out, right? I believe he will be signed this week. I think one of the things that's probably a good thing if Arsenal were thinking like announcing him immediately is probably not a good idea with the Morgan Rogers deal collapsing, So at least hopefully some of that has died down and he can enjoy his entrance to the Arsenal camp, right? So the Zola stats are based on UCL. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I didn't look at that, but yeah. So he's playing in the Champions League. So we know he could be fine there. Bruno comes in top shelf already made star player. Yeah, that's one of the things we want, right? He knows the league. He just has to return and get to form there. It's not a bad deal in terms of whether we would work out. We know it will work. We shall see. Also, Bruno G seems an excellent mentor for MLS to come into a starting role once Bruno starts. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you bring in Bruno and he gives you 2 to 3 years, and after 2 years or after a year and a half or whatever, you see a little slowdown. And Skelly, who doesn't have to, that's the thing. Like Skelly can do it, but he doesn't. He can work on his craft like he did when they eventually said you're going to be going to midfield, right? Supposedly he worked on his craft, and that's why it took so long for him to get in. But he looked comfortable there. I'm assuming all he's going to do this off season, in the off season, in the preseason, is get prepared to play in that midfield for Arsenal. So and he can play left back, like the same way that Rice can play right back, right? They don't. That's not where they play, but they can. Like if Saka had to come back and play in the midfield, go back and play as a fullback, he could do it, but he doesn't. That's not where he starts. So hopefully MLS gets that treatment. You don't have to worry about him. But Calafiori is, will he be healthy? That's the next thing.
Yeah, can he stay healthy?
Yeah. Can he stay healthy? I'm ready to move on from Erdegaard. Martinelli still has a lot of gas. Okay, for me, they both could go. Erdegaard can more stay for me than Martinelli. I think if Erdegaard's healthy with the way the team is set up now, and if he's healthy, I don't. Maybe that's it. He's not healthy, so that's why he sits back more. Maybe that's why he doesn't. Because you think about it. What was he doing when he was healthy? He was the head of the press, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was head of the press. Between him and Kai Havertz, they both were pressing, right? Depending on what needed to be done. He got injured. He doesn't want to go up there anymore. I think because he has to get back, right? Arteta's got some rules, but I'd rather him be further up the pitch. He's 24 and ready to make the leap. No, it's good. I think Zolis will be good. Hopefully it plays out for us and pays off for us. Rashford on 150 a week. Yes. Anything more? No. Yeah, I don't think he's going to take a 50% hit, right?
Now, but again, I would say this much: if Man United want to subsidize his salary out, that would happen. But they're not going to subsidize his salary out to Arsenal.
Okay, if that's the case, then why isn't Jesus gone? Because we're not. He's making 250, right?
Yeah.
Like why would Arsenal, like I was just saying this on the show today as well, Jesus, they want 20 mil for him. Teams are offering 12 to 13. Arsenal's like, I'm like, dude, that 7 mil is, half of what you pay him to not play for you. If you can get more than the 13, fine, but you're paying him close to 14 mil a year to not play. He's taking up a spot, and you don't want to not register him, kind of thing. So the math doesn't make any sense.
It depends on who wants to buy him from us. What the structure is. I'd imagine the big thing is they want that 13 million probably in this window. And
Oh, for sure they would want it. Yeah,
and I'm sure
Arsenal would
some
want it.
clubs are like, well, we'll pay you 13 million over 4, and you're like, dude, it's like people going to the grocery line and they're putting their food on the thing, and they're like, ring up these 10 items. Okay, ring up 10 more. I can make, like.
Hey! I
We've all
was
been
at.
there. We've all been there. Trust me, we've all been there.
I've been there sitting with, behind my mom, and she's trying to make sure we got enough, enough
Yeah,
the essentials first, and then maybe some of the extras that we
yeah,
didn't really need.
yeah.
Right? Those are,
Been there.
that was the old days. Now you just your credits like whatever,
Yeah.
and you get it. Let me go through this chat because there's a couple more people joined. Sean Jalen has I think it's BJ Allen has joined us. Welcome to the show this afternoon, gents. Hope you're both well. I think that Julian Alvarez is way too hot and cold because he scores so worldy and then disappears for like 6 games. Yeah. Well, if he's spending his time with Kai Havertz, then guess what? We're going to get similar. Maybe we can work that hot and cold out between the two of them,
The
right?
averages out. Yeah.
Right? Because if they're both, because Kai Havertz is hot and cold, right? I mean, we saw it, right? He scores in against City, right?
Mm-hmm.
Early, and then like later on, he misses the header, right? In the same game. So, I just don't think there's a perfect attacker for us that's available for us, right? Like Vinny comes in, he would be the perfect attacker, but then everything else that Arteta wants, he's not doing that. So you spend the money, but you're not getting that.
Yeah.
Everybody else is the same question. So I think I think there's I don't know outside. Like I said, Bruno's the best pound for pound value you're going to get out there. If you spend I think 100 would be too much, but if you paid 100, you're still going to get worth 100 mil worth of value based on what we're seeing in the market. Also, Sean says, I think Rashford would do a job, but I don't want him as our main left wing option, and it would need to be on loan with an option to buy. Anything permanent or obligation is a no for me. If they can do the loan with the option, then yeah. I don't think Manchester United would do that for Arsenal, though.
Not when United feel like they are immediately going to be competing with us, because you have to think if you're United, based on how the season finished, the change at City, that you're in that top 4 race for certain. They bringing in Tielemans. They may actually just keep Rashford, and Michael Carrick. Carrick might reintegrate Rashford too. That's also a possibility.
True. So. Yeah, no, I mean he's a talent for sure.
Yeah.
Salary, I think the same way people talk about Arsenal, putting these salaries on players and not making them marketable in the market. I mean, Rashford that's the same thing, but you don't hear it as much because it's Manchester United. If it's Arsenal, you're like 150 for. No, it's not even 100. I think he makes even more than that. Martinelli, what is it? Martinelli makes almost 200 mil. 180
a week. Yeah.
180 a week, right? Who's paying that, right? For what he offers. I mean, Eze's making that, and like, all right, I could see why we did that, but and I think Eze I believe he'll come good if we utilize him. Gyökeres 200, right? I mean, these are players that it's probably not going anywhere. Zubimendi 75. That's a crazy part, right?
Yeah.
Value for money. You've got Mascara at 55. So yeah, let me finish up here. It would never happen, but Jamal Musiala would be my dream signing. He can do what Rodgers can do, not as dynamic as Mark Kohler, but it's definitely more multifaceted and as an assist machine. Yeah, Musiala would be on it. The only problem I think we have is, has he fully come back from that injury, right? Because I think he went out with an injury. I don't know if he's fully come back yet. So yeah, that would be No, I mean there are players, but there's a question mark on everybody, right?
Yeah.
So I think Krupi, huge upside. Yeah. I'm happy with Zola's coming in as a rotational option for left wing, but we still need a starting left wing. I always believe Martinelli is better down the middle, and either we sell him or use him as a striker. I hear you, John, on that one. I the fact that Arteta's even said it, and you're like, why did you say it if you're not gonna do it? Just do it, right? You put Moreno as a striker, and you won't put Martinelli, who actually plays on the front line. Come on, and joining the stage from the Midwest, got Tony in the house.
Hello, Tony.
South Central.
Sorry,
US.
South Central. That's right. My bad. I always say, sorry, my bad. I don't know why. I always say the Midwest. But South Central. How you doing, Tony?
It's kind of weird though. Parts of Oklahoma is more like the Midwest, some Southwest, some of the South. It's kind of a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing all right. I had to take my cousin to work. Then he decided, I need to go to the emergency room because of my eyes. I had to take him back to the house to get his ID and everything. Then fill up the car tank. Then take him to the hospital.
Do you have your own spot at the hospital? like is there you go to the hospital and it's like the head surgeon has its own spot, and like right next to him Tony has a spot?
Probably. Yet to be unveiled. Maybe a little bit for my birthday.
Oh man. Yeah. Let me finish this chat. We'll get back to you, Tony, while we're talking about where are we at? We're talking about transfers. Sean's like, I'm on the fence about Krupi. I like him, but Bournemouth are asking way too much money. I think he should stay one more year, play UEL, I guess that's is a Europa League or Conference League, and show that he's not one season wonder.
What about bringing in Nico Williams and getting rid of Martinelli?
Well, you saw Nico Williams in the okay. There we go. You saw Nico Williams in the World Cup final.
Yep.
Tell me how that doesn't look like what a Martinelli can do for you. We lost him. All right, we lost Tony. Let me remove this one.
I'm back.
There's two Tonys.
Two Tonys.
Yeah. Sorry, the other one. Yeah. No, I get the Nico Williams, but I went through this on show with Dan. He gave us three things, right? We'll start with a good one. He puts the header in for the game winning, right?
Yep.
Very nice work, gets to the ball, makes the run at the right time, all of that. Perfect. Second, takes a shot, stings the goalkeeper's hands, but it's right at the goalkeeper. And then third, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, he just, like I said, he just ran over the ball. He tripped over the ball. And you're like, how in the world do you not get a shot off? You're just one-on-one with the goalkeeper, right? And that's what I think that's the thing. You're going to get some good and some bad with them.
Yeah.
And also, he makes as much as Saka. Also, I think he plays with his brother, right? Does he want to leave that?
Yeah. I don't know.
And that's also a problem with Jesus wanting to stay with wages he's on.
Yeah,
he should definitely be out of the team.
He wants to stay with the infamous. I want to stay and fight for my spot.
$300K a week or whatever he's up to now.
Yeah. He's at 265. So yeah, you can't just walk away from that. Like I said, I wish teams would supplement the salaries and to get players out. You're paying it anyways, but at least now you're paying it to not play for you, and they get to play and make their money, and you get to move on. And I'd rather take that. Say we sold him for we paid half his salary. You have like $130K a week to pay to somebody else, right? Right. If there's a play out there, like if they say it was Vinny, and you had to pay him $400, you could afford it because you're paying for for the value. It might be worth it, right? So there are ways to do that. Bring in the players that cost a lot. We lost Tony again.
He's 24 years old. Nico Williams is. So
yeah,
I'm not gonna say it's a no for me, but man, it would have to be like we've kicked the tires on everything, and this is what you got.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'd just be
looking at. He might go behind Rashford for me.
Yeah. It'd be like I said. probably be just like Martinelli and Trossard in their consistency, right? So you want that. You want that. Solis looks two-footed and thrives in tight spaces. Yeah, that is the thing he can do, right? He can use both feet, right? We would like that. We'd like that. Yeah, no, I'd like to see how he plays in the preseason. I can't wait for him to, I believe hopefully either tomorrow or the next day he will officially be an Arsenal player. I think Arsenal pushed that one out a little bit, and based on the Morgan Rogers and whatever. Sean's like, how are you gentlemen feeling about the Saliba situation and who we should sign to fill in while he's out? Ramirez would be good to cover for Rice while he rests. Yeah.
Do we need to sign anybody? I mean, we have a team full of center backs. I would move one of those guys into center back.
You're still a man short, though, right?
Then you're signing a left back or a right back, which we probably need one of each of those. To be honest.
Well, you have three now. Three left backs, anyways, if you needed to, right? Skelly is a emergency left back, right? So, Hinkapia and Calafiore are your left backs, and then Skelly is an option, right? If you need him, right?
Yeah, but Calafiore is not going to give us 20 games.
No, but that's why you have Hinkapia to go in there, and maybe he'll give you the other 20 games that you need, right? The other 30 games that you need. Right, and then once in a while, Skelly, when he's not playing in the midfield, will get games. So he'll get minutes to keep him fresh, right? So yeah, I think if Skelly is your third option, then you're good. All right. If Bruno comes in, I keep losing people, man. Let's see if Tony's back again. We'll move this other guy. You keep rotating in and out.
I'm not sure what's going on. It starts randomly refreshing. So.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, no, like you said, we might be all right, but I could see bringing in another defender for sure. I think we need one more defender. One that if he could play midfield in the back line would be nice. Now you think about it, is Norgard is he going to stay? Because Norgard, if he stayed, we know we have a center back, right?
If you can promise him game time, that's going to be the problem. Like I think he, winning the league was nice for him, but I think he wants to play too.
He should have played. That's on Arteta. I think Arteta played in.
It's just crazy. He got more minutes in that final game than he got the entire season in Premier League.
And he played and was a captain in the league, so it's not like he doesn't play in Premier League football. It's
and that comes in a problem. It's like Arteta still got the guys that he likes and the ones he's not red hot on, and
that's a problem. He can't, you have to have a squad. Nobody wins with 11 players. Nobody wins with 13 players. They don't do it. They rotate. Like you played against a team in PSG whose starters had 1,000 less minutes than yours, right?
Yep.
You can't,
and we had the depth. I mean, went out, got the players we needed, but Arteta just either he didn't see him fitting, didn't like him. I don't know, but Berta did his job. Arteta just didn't make use of the tools he was doing.
Yep. Got some more questions here. From Sean, did you gents see the preseason photos? Yeah, Gabriel Jesus, Fabio Vieira, Reece Nelson, a lot of players we need to offload.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, they all need to go, and they all should want to go, right? I mean, eventually they're gonna go, right? If we do bring in another attack, we brought in Zolis. He's going to take up minutes, right? If you bring in an Alvarez or a group, I think Alvarez is probably who we're going to bring in. That's less minutes especially for Jesus. So Reece Nelson is not going to get any minutes. Fabio Vieira not going to get any minutes. I mean, did Fabio Vieira not do well it was at Porto, right? Did he not do well there? Yeah. I thought he actually did well for them.
I figured that Vieira was gone. I thought he was permanent to Hamburg.
No. Who no Kirill is Kirill went to Porto. He did well, and they signed him. Sorry, Fabio Vieira. He excelled at Porto before he came to us, but you're right. He's the one that went to Germany. Let me see. I'm asking questions of Fabio Vieira. Yeah, he went to Hamburg.
Yeah, that was where his loan move was.
Recorded a squad best 7 goals and 5 assists, and they don't want to bring him in. How does that work? Why an Arsenal player goes into your squad actually gives you 12 GA, which happens to be one of the tops in your team, and you don't want him? That's basically what they're saying here. How does that work? Like, is Arsenal really asking for that much money? You don't play him. Right?
Well, okay. But we also can't just take an L. I know what you're saying by you're not using them, but you also the Jesus one, if you're getting someone at 13, I'm probably pulling the trigger on that one, right? Based on the age, based on injury history.
But they're not taking Jesus for 13 is not being Arsenal wants they're closer
20.
They want
right.
Yeah.
But Fabio Vieira, I'd hold on to that a little bit more. I know we probably aren't going to use him again, but if you could get 20 to 25 for him, why not?
I don't think you're going to get that much for him.
Just because we don't rate him doesn't mean some other idiot won't. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it. I just got to convince
you can't say that out loud and expect it to work.
That's it.
You can't say that out loud and expect it. No, you can't say that out loud and expect it to work.
You go to a meeting and it's like, do you dumbasses really want to pay that much?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna. Yeah, you can't say that. You can't say that. No, but I just like if he's leading your team in an attacking stats, what you can't, and you're like, nah, you know what? It's just not working. He's not giving us what? He's giving you everything you need, right? And you're sitting right in the mid. I don't know if they finish in mid table, but what they couldn't figure out a way to. I don't know. Something's not right about that, right? I didn't realize he actually played that well there.
Is there a world where he makes it back into this team?
No. Where's he going to play?
I don't know. I'm just. I expect a follow-up question on that if you want my honest opinion.
I mean, he plays in the midfield. He's supposed to be a creative midfielder. He can't survive in the Premier League.
If it's Vieira and Weary, I'm sending Vieira back in, right? No question. Vieira.
If we can't get in Weary to play for us, how in the world are we going to get Fabio
I'm
Vieira
make the argument. I don't care about Vieira that much. I'd rather get those minutes to Weary. That's my point. That's where I'm at that. I mean, they tried him at winger one time. I don't know. Someone will want him. If he had a decent season at Hamburg, someone will come in and we'll end up selling him.
When does the window close?
It's a week after the season starts, so that will be the season starts, I thought, in about 6 weeks. So whatever, 7 weeks from now. Something like that?
It's a month. It's the 21st.
So 5 weeks from now it closes, right? Because it's like a week inside of the season.
It seems like it'd be extended further than that. But.
So okay. So tell me this. He, like I said, the best creative stats, 12 GA. The next two players are sitting at 6. 25 years old. So he's mature compared to the rest of the team, and we can't sell him to them. What? He's your best player. Like we always talk about, like Arsenal players going on loan and not increasing their wealth, right? their worth, right? Their value. He did that. He went to another team. I didn't even realize his stats were this good. Right? He played like 2,000 minutes, which is probably in the top. He started 25 games. Started a lot of their games in the midfield and as a forward, and we can't figure out a way to get him to play. Can't sell him to that team. Like, and is that Arsenal asking for too much?
Probably.
Like, I mean, isn't he worth it to Hamburg?
Ooh. Yep.
I mean, there's a comment in here about they just got up to the Bundesliga, and I don't know if they have the budget for it. So I don't know. I don't want to play Football Manager in my mind, but it's hard to say. But based on what he performed, the answer to that would be yes. Yeah. But I don't know if it's going to work financially for them.
Yeah.
I mean, his wages shouldn't be that much.
Yeah.
Lukonga was permanent last season. That's summer to Hamburg. Kyria Gonzalo. Yeah, like I get if you're looking at Lukonga, but then Vieira actually is your best player. I mean, Lukonga is actually not played bad for them. He had 5 goals for them, right? So like you always talk about the Arsenal players, how they how they get on, but we're talking about the 2 of the top players, or 2 of the top 4 players in regards to GA. Arsenal, former Arsenal. They both played for Arsenal, right? So I don't know. I get not being able to afford him. Maybe we loan him out, but with a little bit extra bump, like they gotta pay. Get some money's back for him. We got a lot of chat. I didn't realize the chat's been. You guys have been chatting here. Let me try to catch up. Everybody is saying bring in Stones on a free transfer, but our luck he signs and gets injured in training. That part is true. The second part is true, but the free transfer, that means, right? I don't know about the salary, but for the experience and not having to pay for somebody to come in, why not, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Why not? I mean, I think that's not a bad deal. Look at Hannibal from Burnley. Yeah. I remember of Hannibal, rather bringing Stones. If I remember Hannibal, like he is a little loose cannon, if I recall. Like Hannibal, the loose cannonball. All right, on
loose cannonball.
Montez, the Mexican center back playing in Russia. Yeah, I've heard Montez's name come up multiple times. Tony, we keep losing Tony.
Yeah.
Is he? Oh no, he's back. All right. So here we go. Opportunity to Wilfred Singo for the right back position for me. Physical specimen and can cross a ball, unlike Konza. I haven't heard of that Wilfred Singo player. I don't know where he plays. Yeah, I mean we need, the one thing we might need, and we don't know, once again, will Timber come back? Supposedly he's healthy and he's hamstring, because I think it's his hamstring that's the issue now. His hamstring, he should be good to go soon.
Yeah, but then it will be his other hamstring, Gary.
Well, that's how it works, right? That's how it works, right? So he's not, he will be a question mark until he's fully healthy, and hopefully Arteta allows him to fully be healthy. Who has a switch so we can play EAF after this? I don't have a switch. I don't have that switch thing.
No, either.
What else we got going on here? Nico Williams apparently has a decent release clause. I thought it was 75, but Arsenal doesn't deal with release clauses, right? Most Premier League teams don't have the monies to do that.
We did it with Thomas Partey, right?
But it was 50 mil.
Right. I'm saying it happens, but
75 mil is a different story.
Yeah,
I think in this day and age, at least for Arsenal, could they do it? Yes, but will they? No.
I think it was 78 what I seen. But.
Yeah. So I think I would like it to happen, but I don't think we want to spend the 75 in a big chunk. What else we got here? I think Nico Williams, Sean, is way too similar to Madriki and Martinelli. Quick, technical, but end product is lacking for sure.
Tony's back.
Yeah, Tony keeps coming and going. I think he's also 21 and continues to grow. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. They're young, but they're inconsistent, and they're not going to get any better. Right? Not playing in the Premier League. Not playing in the Premier League. Like if they're already playing, you can get them. Nice. We need a starter. That's the thing. We don't need somebody who can build into a starter as a left wing. His wages are outrageous too at Bao. He's on a 10-year contract. We have to pay some decent money or give him massive wages. He's a no for me. Yeah, it's expensive. Like I said, he makes as much as Saka. So, like, if you're paying a salary of a Saka for a play on the left wing and they aren't double type players, yeah. Nico Williams has a weird relationship with the Bilbao fans, ultras. Him and his brother are always the first to be criticized, but any rumors of his exit, and they get even more crazy. Yeah, that's crazy, right? We hate this player. He's gonna leave. Oh no!
It's weird. It's so weird how that is.
Yeah. Let's just say Jesus makes $200K a week to walk when we need to be sold. Yeah, like I said, I was looking at Copology, and I mean they've confirmed 265. So 200 that would be nice. 200 is what Gyökeres supposedly makes, right? But he makes 260 confirmed. So
yeah. It's been that way for a couple of years. He's been around that
265. Actually, he makes more than Saliba. Think about it, he makes more than Saliba. He makes more than Declan Rice. I mean Martinelli. Sorry, not Martinelli. Margulies makes over 100K less than him. Right? These are our top players, and Gabriel Jesus is topping. Making more than them. At some point, I can't. It's not going to work.
Yeah,
it's not going to work. So
I mean,
and I think you know what this brings up a good point. I was talking today in one of the chats. I did work actually. I did work today, but I was talking, and one of the things that came up, and I think you guys probably agree, we are too nice and not ruthless enough at the right opportunities. Like Martinelli was worth 50, 60 mil at one point. Eddie Nketiah was worth 40 or 50 at one point, and we don't sell them. And then eventually, sometimes they go for like half the price that we could have sold them for, sometimes for free. Like sometimes, if the player their value is as high as it's ever going to be, I'll let them go.
I think the word you're looking for isn't ruthless. It's that we hold on to assets too long.
No, but that's ruthlessness, though.
Is it though?
That is ruthlessness.
All right. So before we're doing that semantics, I'm sorry. The principle is the same. Is that ruthlessness, holding on to things too long? It's all the same. I don't know. There's a lot of hindsight 2020. I mean, of course, for me, the one that was striking is Balogun got sold for Nketiah. I hated that move.
Yep.
I mean, again, I think we'd be looking at. Okay, so hear me out. I'm still on title winning high. So I think if we were sitting here today, finishing second again to City, that what you said is true. But I think the anger so when you bring that up, people bring that up more of an analytical discussion, right? Like, hey, do you guys think we're a little less ruthless, blah, blah, blah. It's easy to sit there and have a level-headed discussion about it because you've won silverware, right? But if you haven't won anything, you're like, well, dadgummit, why didn't we do this? And why didn't we do this? So it's easier to have that discussion level-headed and not – you know what I'm saying? Like I'm seeing things like if we hadn't picked up that Premier League trophy, there'd be a lot of question marks about the Morgan Rogers thing. Would have been level 1000 meltdown. But because we won a title, I think the fan base opinion, and maybe it's a little bit more relaxed. We're a little bit more, I don't know, reserved on our opinions on that. But again, I think you are right that we are not ruthless at times. I mean, Reese Nelson's been at the club now. I mean, Reese got some good moments. Don't get me wrong. The Bournemouth moment is going to be a great moment that goes down in history. But again, like that guy probably should have moved on. I mean, he's had 2 loan moves within the Premier League, at Fulham, at Crystal Palace, and it just hasn't worked out. It's got to go, right? Who's someone else that I mean, Nketiah, we kept probably a little bit longer. We can argue about whether he was the guy at the time. Still ended up being not good enough. But we can.
I think even Emile Smith Rowe, we could have let him go. Before, like, we kept him, and then eventually, it didn't work out. Could you, like, we keep these players, out of loyalty sometimes, but like, if you're looking at it long term, you're like, is it going to work out for us, right? And most of the time, it has not, because you know what, it should be clear as day whether or not you're going to keep players around, right? Like, can you sell them and maybe get something different, better? Sometimes, yes. Yeah. Like, we hold on to them. They hold on to a spot that Arteta doesn't want to give up. And you're like, but you're not playing him. And do you see a future with him? No. So we're going to sell him sooner than later, right?
And it also becomes the break in case of emergency guy.
Yeah, and we don't want a break in case of emergency. We want somebody that's they just come in, like, one, because either you need a skill set at a particular point in time, or one of your players is having a bad day. If they're having a bad day and you bring them in, that's what they're there for. They can start for you, right? Our players need to be able to start for us, right? All of them, right? Or else it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I kind of feel like they need to. Some of them need to have been gone already. And if you take the loss, I think. But at least you're not. If they go on a loan, perfect. But you're holding on to them, and all they're doing is their value is dropping. That's the other part to that, right? Another year, another drop in value, and then eventually they're less than 2 years away, and they're like, "No, I'll just stay around." And you're like, "Yeah, no, because you can go somewhere else and get, a better deal for yourself." And Arsenal Arsenal's sitting there with their hands in their pocket, like, "What?" Like, the loyalty doesn't work both ways, right? Arsenal will hold on to you, but then when it's time to sell, who is it? The scenario that came up was. Who is our goalkeeper that left and went to Crystal Palace? Why can't I think of his name right now? He didn't want to leave England. He didn't want to leave London. Sorry. Who's the goalkeeper before Raya? Huh?
Ramsdale.
Ramsdale, right? Ramsdale didn't want to leave London.
So a lot of those guys don't after they get their kids or families or anything.
Yeah, Arsenal was like catered to that, and it's like, but you don't want them.
You're talking about Leno.
Is it Leno? One of the two, yeah.
It was Leno.
But they didn't want to leave London, and we catered to that. A lot of and I get it. London is a destination, but you got to be able to perform as well. It doesn't. It can't be you come to London and you get niceties, right? As somebody said, we're too nice, right? We're too nice with some of our players.
That's why Giroud chose to go to Chelsea, because his wife wanted to keep their kids and lived in.
Yeah, no, I mean, letting Giroud go, I think, like, he was. I mean, we needed a starter. I think keeping him would have been fine, but you needed to get in a starter, and we didn't do that either. So,
and he was kind of like Kai Havertz type, but you can count on Giroud more coming off the bench.
Late in the game, you bring him on. Yeah. Let me finish this chat. Let me try and catch up here. Mascara is the only healthy right-sided defender. Timber and White are stepping off the crib. Wrong from being out 3 months. We need a right-sided defender because we can't play Rice or at right back. Rice can't come back and be playing right back for us. That's for sure. No. So that's like the break glass 20 times, and then we'll put Rice back there essentially.
I've been saying that for 2 years, but it keeps on happening. It's like, he can't hold up there. It's just his muscles are gone. He never had time to properly heal. Then he had the surgery. Then he didn't have time to properly heal. So that's where he's at. He needs to be a backup right center back. And
supposedly White is healthy. So either we sell him or he he will be a good backup for us, right? So, Berta may have to work a miracle to get rid of Jesus. Yeah, well, I think whoever is running this valuation of players, has to say, I think we should let him go. We've spent 28 mil on him in the last 2 years and gotten how many minutes out of him? I think it's okay to let him go.
And
Right?
originally spent 51 on him.
Right. I mean, he played
which I was against with one year on his contract, and we paid that much.
He played 400 minutes for us in the league last year. I think it's okay if he goes, right. He played another 800 minutes in the Cup and Champions League, but you know what?
But the problem is with that,
for the money, no.
is that we re-sign these players and we keep them on the same wages to kind of protect the value, but you can't get rid of them because they're on the high wages. I mean,
that has never worked. That has never worked. We're going to extend it one more year to boost their value, and then we don't play them, so then we lower their value, and we kicked in another year. It doesn't work. So I kind of feel like you got to look at that process. Sean says there are too many competitions, especially for English teams, because of the extra cup competition. To not have at least 2 quality players in each position, it's crucial if we want to retain the title. For sure. That's why I think Bruno's a good answer to how do we fix that in the midfield.
Bruno's a right now. Bring him in and immediately commit.
Yeah, I look at the Tavernier at left wing at Bournemouth. He's got a wicked strike on him, and he's pacey. Yeah, Tavernier has looked good. He did look good. Yeah. No, I think but the Premier League tax, right? The English tax. Yeah, good free kick taker. Yeah, we got some of those.
Yep.
Opportunity. YouTube says Hamburg can't afford him. That was literally their first season back in the Bundesliga for over 5 years. They simply don't have the budget. Yeah, that's disappointing. But I mean, we take losses anyways, right? I mean,
yep.
What? How much is the loss we're gonna take on him? We don't play him. I get the loss part. Like I guess in the value, the PSR, FSP or FSR, whatever it's called, will bump us. But you know what? You bring in bad players and low value players, and they don't perform. And then why is he not being marketed to other teams in the Bundesliga? Right? I mean, how many players?
It's July 21st, so there's no telling what it looks like. August 21st is our first game, right? So we're about 30 days out. Wow, season's ratcheting up on us. So he probably moves back to the Bundesliga to someone else.
Sure.
Yep. I mean, preseason starts the first, so
yeah,
not much time. 20 days of preparation before the season starts, and you don't have most of your main players. But I gotta run to the hospital and pick up my cousin. Hopefully, I'll be back before you guys finish.
I'll try.
It's almost 100 minutes, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how far away you are.
Most East Coast folk are about to fall asleep.
We will probably be gone when you come back, man. I'm sorry.
Be safe.
Yeah.
All right, sir.
Yeah.
All right, Tony. Have a good night.
At least I switched browsers, so I stopped dropping out.
Oh, is that what it was? All right, cool. We'll know for the next time.
Know
for the next time.
Take care, Tony.
All right, Tony.
Yep.
Have a good night.
You guys have a good one.
Have a safe drive. Yeah.
I'll try.
Yep. No, don't try. Do.
Yeah, but yeah. So my prediction: August 1st, we have 2 people across the line, and Zolas. My guess would be Bruno. That would be my guess.
Yeah. All right. So here's what I wanted to do. Here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to see, what are the top, the top GAs in the Bundesliga, right?
Okay.
All
Bayern Munich.
12. Well, no, I'm just saying 12 is in, I would say, let's see where 12, he's 31st in Bundesliga in terms of GA.
That's not horrible.
That is actually really good. I mean, there are another like 100 plus players behind him. So like Are we not marketed him well? Like what? Like he is in the top 30 in your league for GA. He's worth whatever he should be worth, right? Like I don't that right. I mean, I didn't realize he was that. He performed that well. Yeah, there are better players in terms of like the Canes and Elise's, and like Bundesliga has the top 3 spots in there. But I mean, he's like I said, 31, right? He's 31.
Yeah,
in the league in GA, right? Hello. He's 25. He's right there in the right age, right? So that should be like, what is Arsenal doesn't want to sell him, or they're not market? Like, I don't think we market our players, and I mean sometimes the way we push them. Like, how can you not sell that to any team in German football?
that's gonna be Berger's job to figure that one out.
Like, I mean, we should be able to find somebody to take him, right? I mean, all this talk about, Jan Diamande, he's got 20 GA, right? Probably plays on a better team, right? So, he should only get better. Hamburg, as I said, he was their best player. So I know they can't afford him, but still, somebody should be able to. What else we got going on here? Oops, did I? There's something up with Vieira because neither Porto or Hamburg wanted to make the transfer. Yeah, that is interesting. It's not like he's not that good for German football, anyways. Fabio seems suited for Italy. I mean, he seemed fine in Germany based on those stats, right? He plays on a better squad. Maybe those numbers come up. He is wild devil's advocate argument. Fabio Vieira at right wing over Noni. The thing is, Noni can hold up in the Premier League. Vieira cannot. It's an easy. I still
feel like Nani's got something there that's going to develop. I still feel like it's going to happen.
He just needs to work on his shooting.
Yeah,
like he shoots. What do these players do in the off season? Like, are you seriously looking at your game? Like, think about it. Like this is the same thing I said to you about like Tebow. Like, you can't throw the damn ball. How about you work on that in the off season? How about you just work on your throwing in the off season? Did you work on the throwing in the off season? Right? I don't know. Same thing for Noni. Like, you need to be able to get the ball out of your feet quickly and shoot. Right? Right? There used to be a time he just came in his first touch when he got past this guy was to shoot. Right? And you're like, just work on that. I mean, everything else is there. You don't need to work on running and defending and all that stuff. Work on the craft that you need help at. All right. Nelson is Champions League championship level. So Reese to West Ham as they just sold. They could get something out of him. Probably. We can't let Ethan go unless he's getting a great transfer fee. It's beneficial for him to go to go on loan after missing out on the title run. Yeah, no, he could have contributed for us, I believe. And he could have contributed before the season before. So, yeah. Sean says Big Skin. Apparently, clubs outside England are looking at Reese, and he's open. Yeah, that is right. There's a couple it's like 3 squads looking at him. I think I have. Do I have information on him? I think
anybody from the Saudi league that wants to drop 60.
Yeah, I can tell you this based on my source, anyways. Arsenal is talking to AC Milan, Atletico Club, Atletico Madrid, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Dortmund, Lille, Newcastle, RB Leipzig, Real Madrid, and Real Sociedad. So you can
Reese.
Do you think for their play they're talking with those players in either selling or buying? So
repeat those names again. Go
AC Milan, Athletic Club Bilbao, right? I think that's Bilbao. Atletico Madrid, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Chelsea, Dortmund, Lille, Newcastle, RB Leipzig, Real Madrid, and Real Sociedad. So those are teams that Arsenal is talking with, either selling or buying. So we know why we're talking to Newcastle, right? We know why we're talking to them. All right.
Well, I was talking to Chelsea though.
I hope not.
I'm not trying to speak that.
But also that could be in Weary, right? If they're looking for an attacker to come in, they're going to give minutes to. I mean, where are you there? right? So
we go Chelsea for 120 million.
Yeah. It says Martinelli has 3 great offers. Teams are valuing him less than what Arsenal is asking, right?
Okay.
So, and that's kind of that's been the theme, right? Arsenal's valuation of players is not what everybody else wants it to be. Either it's like we're not going to spend extra on a player, or we want too much for our players. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Ethan should be like, he's got potential. If we're going to talk about potential for players, why not? I mean, the fact that the England manager brought him in, before the World Cup should say something about what he sees in him. All right. Right. They needed a player that can do certain things against the defense, so they can work on things. Right. Why not? Ethan's brother signed a new contract, so it may help him choose to stay at the club. I think we should loan him out once more, give him the Saliba treatment, and he comes. Yeah, if he gets a good Saliba treatment where he actually plays and can be considered one of the top players in the league, right? And we can look at his videos and all that. Then yeah, let him go. Let him go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through the rest of this chat. We'll have a little chat and we'll get out of here.
Yeah.
The Mexican League just kicked off. We're in match week 2, says Big Gunner. Cruz Azul Puebla is about to kick off now. Enjoy. Ethan and Dowman need substantially more minutes this season. They are attacking threats. Yeah, they need more minutes, and I think their minutes are there. Right? I think the minutes are there. Like, a lot of our players don't have to play 90 minutes. They might not even have to start every game. Agreed, says Sean. We were at a point where we've outgone a lot of players, but we didn't sell them, and now we're struggling to level up because we can't offload these players who have just overstayed their welcome. Yeah, that's the whole nice thing. The nice thing, we hold on to them, and then we can't get rid of them when they don't want to leave, right? So Sean says, if we had recruited better, we'd have a luxury of sending in Wary and Dowman on loan without needing to rely on them, but we are unfortunately not in that position. For sure. Yeah, but they might be able to stay and get some minutes here. I'm nervous as hell, says Opportunity. YouTube. Arsenal are a type of club to only bring in Zolas and say they couldn't find value in the market and try to act numb to the backlash and criticism. Don't forget the Peter check some. Yeah, I think people go back to that summer. I don't think we're in that situation. I don't think that's going to be us. I don't believe that's going to be us. I mean, I think Bruno will come through. I think, we might spend a little extra for him. But I think that would, Bern Leno did not want to leave London and went to Fulham. That's what it was. Yep. Thanks for that. We aren't ruthless enough or aggressive enough with our transfer business across the board, says Sean. The amount of academy products that we've let go and gotten no money for is preposterous. Yeah, I mean, and we're seeing it. We just saw a player right now who's left and went to City, right? And I think we don't want to spend the money on these players. They go somewhere else and they get paid. So, that means their value's there. Right, if they're going to go to City, right, going to go to Chelsea, they see a value in them. So what don't we see in them? Maybe you put a little bit more into their pockets, or put a little more. Give them a true path. And you know what? They go to those teams and they leave anyway. So I think that, I always say it, I think Arsenal tells them the truth. Other teams tell them a lie. They go there and they end up doing the exact same thing they would have done at Arsenal. But they have a little bit more money in their pocket, right?
Aiden Heaven has worked out, right, for United. But what about Obi?
Yeah, no. Obi went because he, supposedly the money was good. And he's struggling, man. He's struggling there.
That's ultimately why Morgan Rogers went to Chelsea. They offered him a 6-year contract with stupid money.
Yeah. You're supposed to
I thought you weren't supposed to do more than 6-year contracts, but whatever.
Yeah. BX says, I trust in the Cronkies and Berta to get the business done. The Cronkies aren't shy about landing a huge marquee player across all of the sports franchises there, taking us up a level. We'll see. We shall see. Some people, Arteta supposedly wanted Morgan, so that was probably his marquee. We're going to have to find another one. Sean says, this summer alone, we've let 4 academy players leave. All of them turned down new contracts and left for free because we let the contracts expire when we shouldn't have been able to try to get. Yeah, that's the crazy part, right? Like, you sell them earlier, at least you get some. I mean, we get money from them anyways, right? They don't just, it's not that they walk for free. There is value even when they leave like that. I believe, my understanding is we still get some money, I think, for them. They don't just get to walk fully for free, but it's definitely a discount, I believe.
You probably get to write out the loss.
I think we actually get some monies, but not like anywhere near what you probably could have if you sold them the year sooner. Like if that's happening, and I think also you got to remember the academy is turning over in terms of management. So like they should have been looking at that beforehand. That guess what? They're coming up to the end of their contracts. What do we do? Do we sell them? So you see all these players that are 15, 16 changing hands, right? Why not? English players seem to do well or decent in Italy. Yeah, it's a lot slower, easier for players to get succeed there. Sean says that's worrying for me because we might keep some of these players who should have moved on because our top players will be out. Yeah, very true. I think the thing about our academy is we seem to be reloading there as well, though. So as much as the players are leaving, we have brought in players to go into the academy. So I think it might not be as significant. We've already had 2 over the line, Zolis and Meslier. Yeah, Meslier, that scares me. That scares me. If he gets the form he had in before he came to England, maybe, we'll see. I'm surprised that Marinakis has not tried to buy Vieira for Olympiacos. Yeah. Like I said, I think Vieira has shown that he does have he can play in some of these leagues, not the Premier League, but other leagues. So, like I said, I think for me that's some marketing, and that's maybe the difference between us and Chelsea. Like we have players that actually are doing well when they go out, and we still can't sell it. Like usually the players come back and you're like, you didn't do so well. He's actually done really well. I don't know. Arsenal's probably doing the nice thing. He wants to go back to Hamburg. Arsenal doesn't want to sell him because they want to be nice, and that's where the ruthlessness comes in. It's like, yeah, you want to go back to Hamburg, you were successful there, but they don't want to pay for you, so they're not gonna like. You want to go there and give them everything. They don't want to do the same, So gotta work both ways. So that's kind of how I see that one. So yeah. Yep. What else we got here? Garnacho is linked to Villa. Yeah, we know why that is, right? The under the table action, not even. It's over the table action. Right? I mean, they spent all this extra on Morgan, and now Garnacho's going to go over there, and probably be at value or more.
There is compensation.
Yeah. One last thing. Jordan says, I don't believe we get any money because they all left after their current contracts expired and they were free agents. I thought that there's something about academy players that you get the monies somehow.
There is. There's a law in here. I have to do more research on it, but there is like different levels of an age you leave, like U15 to U21. Like the foundation phase, this £3,000 per year of registration amount it's negotiated between the clubs, but it's not a massive amount of money. Like it seems like I have to do more research on it. Your source more information on it, but it looks like there is compensation, but it's nothing to like.
So this is what. Sorry to say this. This is what AI says. When an English academy player contract expires, no transfer fee is paid between clubs, but money often still exchanges in hand in the form of training compensation or a solidarity payment. So there is monies that gets brought, moved along when you bring a player, but it's not probably anywhere near what you would get if you sold a player.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, the contract expires, but you still get something because it's an academy player, and you have put the time and money into their worth. I think the one player that just left that went to City, he only was around for a year anyway, so probably not much money is coming to Arsenal. But they didn't do a good job for that year. I guess I have a feeling either Erdogan or Martinelli will be sold. Yeah, I think both need to be sold. But I mean, like if Erdogan comes, I could see where he stays, and we're all right. We're happy about it. So we'll see. Sean says, I've heard that when Abramovich was owner of Chelsea, he wanted to get rid of the academy, but because it would be bad PR, they chose to make the academy the business that it is now. Buy, churn, sell. Yeah. And they keep doing it. Players pay a laser code through their academy, go out and make some money for them. right? But we would have gotten decent money for certain players that have left, like Cozier, Dewberry, and Amari. But we didn't want to pay them.
But that's also the thing too. So like they still have the opportunity to leave. So like they still kind of control the cards, the youth academy players too, because they can choose where they're going to go.
Yep.
If they're good enough, like in that situation, Cozier, Dewberry, and Amari Hutchinson just have to wait it out, and then they go where they go.
Yep. Yeah. No, I like I said, I think they sell them a dream. We tell them the truth, is what I believe. That's what I believe happens.
Oh, I think it happens all the time. Absolutely, sold a dream all the time. And I mean, even then, if you think about it from this perspective, let's say Cozier Dewberry and he signed a contract, and let's say City won him. City's just going to hold it out, and City's already promised him a dream, right?
Yep.
So I think there's some dishonesty. That's agents and PR and everything, but I get what he's saying. I understand the premise of what he's saying. We're letting players go without really, kicking the tires on whether they're valid or not. But again, I think it's a little bit more complex than that.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it was a good show. I mean, it's been 2 weeks. I haven't been around for the Saturdays doing family stuff. I got to see what's going on this weekend, but yeah, man. No, we're more to follow. I mean, we're about a week out or a month out from the season starting, so enjoy that last 30 some days of you're the champion high, without a defeat or anything.
No, we know we still are the title holders, right?
Correct.
So I mean, as long as we still hold on to it, right? Why? Everybody keeps talking. Whenever we talk about stuff, they talk about things that they won 5-10 years ago. We haven't even. It's not even been 3 months, right? We should be able to hold on to these things, right?
I guess my point is people don't get obsessed with the transfer window and forget what was achieved. Doesn't excuse it, but remember to be like, pump your chest out, man. Do a little bragging over the next 30 days is my point. Remind your United buddies, your Liverpool buddies, whoever you're unfortunately friends with that like teams that aren't yours. Just remind them who the title holders are. That's it.
Yeah. I think I'm just looking at some of the stuff about the Villa deal. They were offering $6 million a year more than us. The payback process, and that it looks good for Villa to get more money back when they So I think we were just weren't going to not necessarily spread ourselves thin, but put too much into a sale of one player. So that's where we are. We are disciplined. Sucks, but that's what we've done. All right, Spencer, talk to me. Talk to the people. We're gonna get out of here. What say you?
Well, everybody, enjoy summer. Stay cool. Stay safe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yep, everybody. Thank you again for joining us. We'll do this again. Like I said, we're going to do this in 2 weeks. If we have a show, I will talk with the guys, and it'll be a pop-up show. Essentially, you'll find out about it. But otherwise, we'll see you in 2 weeks. I think hopefully by then we will have, Bruno G will have signed, and I guess Arsenal would have probably maybe even played, and we know what's going on, and we get to see it hopefully. But yeah, and hopefully we have another player come in. I know, we've got Zolis. Bruno, I believe, is going to come in. We're going to get a decent player after that, and then a big money player coming in is my understanding. So about 4 or 5 players coming in. One over 100 and one closer to 100, and Bruno as well. So those like the 3 top players coming in. So yeah, so that's my understanding. We shall see if that happens. One last thing, Sean says, all I want is for Marley Salmon to make it because we haven't produced a defender from our academy since Tony Adams. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why we would not. I think we've given him experience last year. I know he played in the Champions League for us. I mean, he should hopefully be able to get more minutes for us. I think he looked good and comfortable out there, right? And we're going to need to have that rotation anyway. So why not? Why not give him more minutes? I think I mean, let me look at right before we go real quick. As far as how the youngsters did, Dowman had 157 minutes, and that was taking his tests, right? So that's why I think he wasn't going to be available to us. Skelly had only 700, and these are our league minutes. 700 minutes, that should go up to 1,000 easy, right?
Yeah.
Damon didn't play anything in the league, but he did play. He did play. Where is he? He played what? He did play. Where is Salmon? Oh, this is not right. I got to go to this season, last season. But Salmon, I think he played a decent number of minutes. Let's see where he was. Salmon played. He played more. Did he play more minutes? Yeah, no, he didn't play any minutes last year. What? I thought Salmon played some minutes for us.
I know we saw him in the League Cup.
Yeah, they didn't. According to FB Ref. Oh, you know what? I got to click on the right button here. All competitions. That probably is the reason why I'm not seeing it. So yeah, Salmon played 114 minutes. Dowman 458. Ethan 521, and that's with him not even playing in the second half of the season. So, I think you give Ethan another 500, Dowman another 500, Salmon hopefully another 200-300, right? And that will help us out, I believe, and they will give them experience. They'll probably. Molly, Salmon will probably go back and forth.
Yeah.
Salmon probably hopefully will be more of a figure along with Ethan. Why not? Why not? But you know what? We'll see. Arteta, Moreno was injured for a lot, so maybe that will take away some minutes and stuff.
Yeah, bring him back into the fold. That would be nice.
Yeah. So thank you again for joining. We'll do this thing again in 2 weeks for sure. Hopefully we have some signings by then. Sean says, bless up. Gents, great show and see you on the next one. And Viva España. Congrats on the Segunda Australia and saving football. Yeah, that's what they did for a lot. It was good. I was happy to see Messi lose. I like to, I guess I'm a hater, but that's all right. Everybody, thanks. And we'll do this thing again. Enjoy. Have a good rest of your night or morning or day. And we'll see you guys on the next one. There won't be a show probably this Saturday. There might be. I talked to the guys, but more than likely, since I'm traveling, I might not be able to do a show. There might be a show, but I might not be there. So we shall see. Everybody, over and out. Enjoy. We'll see you on the next one.
Life is a journey. Don't waste the trip. Enjoy the ride. There you go.